All right, good day, everybody, and welcome to Common Sense Warriors. My name is Reiner, and this is Lyle.
Good afternoon or good day, everybody. Thank you for joining us on Common Sense Warriors. It's a lovely rainy day out there, so if you hear anything sounds like water, that's actually outside. So we're in the monsoon season here in lovely Langley. So just, rain is to be expected. Really excited for today's guest. Today's guest is Gail Martin with Critter Care Wildlife Society. Gail, thank you so much for coming on Common Sense Warriors.
Thank you for having me.
So, again, welcome. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about Critter Care, what it is that you do, how long have you been around, a little bit of history on Critter Care.
Okay, well, I've been rehabbing for about 35 years. Critter Care Wildlife Society rescues, rehabilitates, and releases our native mammals back to the wild.
Okay, so
Yeah.
native mammals in
the sense
in the
of
Fraser Valley,
actually,
BC.
no, in southern British Columbia.
All of southern BC.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're the
cool.
only mammal center in southern British Columbia.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what mammals do you treat?
Everything from squirrels up to and including black bear cubs, of which we had 32 about 2 years ago.
Black bear cubs.
Yeah.
So, what happened with all the black bears that were?
In the fall, I think what happens is in the beginning, in the spring bear hunt, a lot of the sows are killed and the babies are left. And when the food comes out, they're good for a while. They're able to, sustain themselves. But then in the fall, when the food is scarce and they're ready to go into hibernation, they don't have anybody to hibernate with. So consequently, they end up getting into trouble, and that's how we get them.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we all know that and we were kind of chatting about this before, but the incidences of wildlife that we've rented, like people and wildlife, are not going down. And it's not that there's more animals out there; it's just more people and more urban expansion and that
Yeah.
type of thing. So,
Yeah,
I think
got it.
Critter Care is a big advocate of protecting the animals, and they don't have anybody really defending them out there. And so it's going to be more and more and more encroachment on it's their territory, not ours. So I think
That's
we all
right,
need to
yeah.
realize that.
Yeah.
So how did you get into this?
Well, actually, years ago, my family moved from the prairies to Britannia Beach when it was a mining town, and the only way in was by boat. So that's kind of aging me there.
Wow.
But anyways, we had a lot of wildlife, and we coexisted with the wildlife. We were taught to respect it. We weren't afraid of it, but we respected it. And there was a lot of raccoons, and they used to come to our home, and I would make them little peanut butter sandwiches. So not knowing that years later, I would be saving them. And it was a great childhood. And like I say, we loved the wildlife, and it isn't like that per se today.
So was it your dad that worked at Britannia
Yeah.
Beach?
Yeah, he worked in the mines.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that, I don't want to age you, but that wasn't exactly recent.
No.
But there's quite a story around Britannia, isn't
Yeah,
there?
there is. Yeah. There
With
is.
the pollution and wasn't it like it was one of the most polluted places in the world at
Yeah.
one point?
Yeah, it
and
was.
now it's been completely like
Cleaned
redone,
up.
cleaned
Yes.
up.
Yeah, it has.
And so you got into leveling wildlife at that point?
Yeah.
And then
when I was very young.
Okay, so did you go to school or did you educate yourself or was it just you just stumbled into this?
Well, you grow up. I got married, had kids, and then they went off to school, and I volunteered at a place where they did some mammals, but mainly birds of prey and songbirds.
Okay.
So I kind of took over the mammal part of it, and I guess I'm just going to be perfectly honest and say, because that's who I am, but I didn't quite like the way the mammals were treated, and I don't like to see predators beside prey, because then it doesn't do well for rehabilitation. So after 5 years and learning a lot and working with some veterinarians, my husband said, "You can do this better." So I did.
Wow.
And,
That's how a lot of entrepreneurs happen.
Yeah, so I was lucky. I had a husband that supported me, and he was there to let me spread my wings and fly. And if I fell, he helped.
Well, good. And you guys started this up, or you started up Critter Care. Whereabouts did you start?
It's actually we actually started it out at home, to be honest. And when 300 mammals went through our home, he said, "I think that we need to get a bigger place." So it was either find a bigger place or quit. And I'm not a quitter. And these animals meant too much to me, so I went and we found a place, actually did a presentation for GVRD Parks. And Critter Care is actually in the back section of Campbell Valley Park. So there's 5 acres there.
Oh, wow.
So we started to build. And yes, it's been a journey. All I can say, it has been a journey, and it's still a journey to a degree.
Now, you said when you started that you decided to get a place because 300 mammals went through your place. Over what period of time?
In a year.
In
Was
1
it
year.
a year?
In a year.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's wow. That's like one a day.
That's what he said, wow.
That's funny.
wow. Yeah,
So-
he's a keeper, right?
Actually, I lost my husband 7 years ago.
Oh,
sorry
yeah.
to hear that.
Yeah, and but he's there watching over the site.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
absolutely.
He told me to keep it going, and I did, and I've built enough enclosures to house all of Langley's animals. So, yeah.
Good for you.
And I've seen them all.
Yes, you have.
You've been there, eh? I
Oh,
have
I
not
have.
been there. I'm just looking at your website. So we've got otters, we've got squirrels, we've got
Fawns, raccoons,
Wasn't
beavers.
there a grizzly?
No, we've never had a grizzly. There is a place up north that actually does the grizzlies. Yeah, don't get too many of those. But yeah, so yeah, the different types of squirrels. You've got your Douglas squirrels, your gray squirrels, your flying squirrels, which are really cool.
we have
We
flying
have flying
squirrels.
squirrels?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, we do. Well, they're nocturnal. They've got the little buggy eyes, and they're my very, very favorite.
Where do you
in the
find
squirrel.
them?
Probably on your property, and you don't even know.
Wow.
Yes. So there you go.
Train them to attack the raccoons.
For the I have had several run-ins with raccoons on my property. I live out in Abbotsford, and we have a few that proves there. I think I live on their highway. I'm
be.
actually like the 3 o'clock highway. I can, if I get up at 3 in the morning, I can watch them walk through my yard. And they walk through the front, and then they go to the back, and they have their little
Trails, little
journey
trails,
that they.
yeah.
And we understand that we're encroaching on their territory. They were here first, not us. So we do have to take care of them and understand that they can be a nuisance, and they can be a pain in the rear end as far as getting into our garbage and all that stuff. But we are living in their territory,
Yes, we
so
are.
we need to adapt, not them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes,
I think
it's learning how to coexist.
Yeah.
And making sure that you have raccoon-proof garbage containers,
Yeah.
that there's no food left out for animals if you don't want them around. You would have everything up there.
Well, and
you
here's
probably have bears too.
Oh, we got bears. We have a guy, and I saw a cougar last year on the walk with the dog in the morning. That was fun. I have a story about that too. I could tell you, make you laugh. But what I was saying is this common sense thing with the municipalities, and we were kind of chatting about most of the work you do is inside the municipalities. And you said have raccoon-proof garbage containers. Well, the city of Abbotsford does not let you have anything other than the standard garbage can sizes. They actually legislate that. So if they come out and you have a big raccoon-proof can, they will not even pick up your garbage from
Yeah.
you.
Wow.
So that's
And
yeah.
we have a rat problem there now with all the garbage stuff. They said in the last election that they would be taking care of that because we have rats, we've got raccoons, we've got bears, we've got everything there. They're getting in the garbage.
Yeah, so
And there's
they
been
weren't-
nothing
yeah,
done, like
yeah,
zero done.
yeah.
Like they've done absolutely nothing except for make it harder to get rid of your waste. That's really what's going on.
So
And-
you guys need to really buck it up and go after
well,
them.
if you're listening, City of Abbotsford, get your button gear.
Yeah.
Because it's not doing anybody any good. We have
No,
massive.
no.
We have so many problems with rats and raccoons and bears, and the bears are
But
just
you
waking
do
up now.
But you do have some, when you say you have problems with rats, there are animals like the raccoons who do eat the rats.
Yeah.
Like our wildlife, there's a lot of them that actually help the people because they eat the things in the gardens that you don't want, like the slugs and the worms and the snails, the rats that are traveling around your neighborhood. They eat those. That's a source of food for them.
Really?
So if you don't use pesticides,
Oh, okay.
they will get rid of it for you.
Yeah.
That's always been something that has bothered me because I know that and I've always known that and people are so against the raccoons and I don't get it. I'm like, but they're doing a job. They have a great job and so they're a little annoying sometimes.
But then so are people.
No kidding.
Exactly.
I have to picture them looking at people going, oh, look at those annoying things on two legs.
Why are they driving everywhere?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think raccoons are a great addition, and the people that are doing nasty things to them, it really bothers me.
I
There's
completely
traps and there's inhumane things that are going on that just really bother me.
I think the point is that there is a way for us to coexist, and there is
Oh,
a way
definitely
for
there is.
I think
Yes.
there's a complete
Yeah.
like. What about coyotes?
What do you want to know about coyotes?
Well, they're public enemy
They-
number one for most people
Well,
with cats and dogs because they.
Yes, but you have to remember, okay, we're supposed to be the intelligent ones, right?
That's the.
But they're pretty damn smart.
Yeah.
But all of these animals, they don't know that they're just hungry. They just want to feed their young.
Right.
So they don't know that they shouldn't go and kill your cat and eat it
Mm-hmm.
or take your small dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's up to you people to don't let your cats out. They don't have to be outdoor cats.
Yeah.
They can be indoor cats. I had 3 rescue cats, all indoor, all perfectly happy. And with cats, talking about cats, they kill billions of songbirds a year.
Oh, yeah.
So they shouldn't be running around outside anyway.
No, I completely agree. If you're going to have a pet, you better be aware of where you're living and
Yeah.
and try and control your pet as much as you can.
But, I mean, all of these animals want to eat. They all want to feed their young. And they're going to do it the best way that they can.
Right.
And they'll protect their young.
Oh, you better believe
Animals
it. They
are
will.
responsible parents.
Yes, very
They
well
really
put.
are.
Very
They are
well
responsible
put.
parents.
Yes,
Yeah.
very well put.
And with the coyotes and the encroaching, is there what are some things that we can do as civilians or citizens of the Lower Mainland Fraser Valley area to be more coyote smart? Because we're all trying to be bear smart, but bears really just they'll get in the garbage. A fed bear is a dead bear. That's the one thing that I've always kind of lived by, right? So you don't want to feed a bear. You don't want to
No,
run
you
into
don't
a
want to
bear.
feed
You
them.
just want them gone. They'll go
Yeah.
do their thing and they'll leave you alone for the most part. With coyotes, is there something that we can do to
Well,
make
you
ourselves?
you have to make sure that actually with all the wildlife, but in particular coyotes, that there is no food source around your neighborhood. So it's up to all of you to work together to make sure that there is no food source. If there isn't a food source, they have to move on and find one.
That's a simple trick that most people don't understand. Is you're opening a restaurant if you leave your garbage cans
Yeah.
available, if you leave
Yeah.
trash out,
Or you
This
leave your
is a
cats
restaurant.
out and- yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, it's a restaurant, and if you close up shop, they're not going to bother you because
There's
they're,
nothing
they're
there.
not there sightseeing. They're not out checking out your decor. They're there because they need food, and if food's not available, they're not going to be there. So
That's right.
It's not complicated, really.
No.
There's what they call common sense involved here.
Well, I think
There isn't much common sense nowadays, sorry.
Exactly, which is exactly
that's-
why this broadcast exists.
and
Yes,
that's why we're
yes.
here because, like, again, common sense would dictate that we have garbage that is disposed of in an orderly fashion that does not have food going into. I mean, it's not exactly good for them to eat human food anyway.
No, it
it's not
isn't,
good for
but-
humans. Look
No.
at
Humans.
what's going on with people. Like
Yeah.
we don't want raccoons
Yeah.
getting like that or
Yeah.
coyotes or.
But there again, coyotes eat the rats and the mice and,
Yeah.
things that.
And that's what we need to realize. There is the
Yes.
circle of
There's a
life,
food
and
chain.
There's a
There
food
is.
chain,
There is,
absolutely.
and there's circle of life, yes.
Yeah.
And they're higher up on the food chain than, say, a rabbit. They
Right.
eat rabbits
Yeah.
and stuff, too.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know what it is? It's all an education, and it's educating yourself, and people can coexist if they do that.
Yeah.
You know, and immigrants that come into our country, there should be a course that they can take, how to coexist with BC's wildlife, because people are afraid of what they don't understand.
Yeah, that is true. That's a very good point. That people are afraid of. Like, people are terrified of coyotes. Like if you only knew the coyotes probably way more scared of you than they are. You are.
And they are.
Yeah,
They are. They're very actually They can be bold when they're hungry or whatever, but they're actually a very timid animal. Same as the bears. They're one of the easiest animals to rehab because they just run and hide, and you feed and clean them,
and they don't want to deal with you. They don't
No.
want anything to do with you. Yeah.
no.
Yeah, this is a city problem. I mean, I spent my childhood in a small town up north, and we knew these things. It was just normal to know these things. You know, I was going to say grow up, but that's a lie because I've never grown up. But 100 Mile House was where I spent my childhood, and again, you know this about wildlife,
Yeah.
and it's not complicated.
No.
You know, we had bears in our yards, we've had deer
we
in
did
our
too,
yards,
yeah.
we've had everything
Yeah.
that you can think of. They come through our yards because we're kind of in the forest. We live there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, they definitely they were here first. So let's go back to critter care. How can we help you? Like what exactly are you looking for? Like when you find an animal, you rehabilitate them. Are they hit by cars? Are they poisoned? Like what are some of the things that you?
Some of the scenarios?
Yeah, some of the scenarios.
Well, in most cases, the bears come in, like the bear cubs come in through the conservation officers. So if
okay.
you had a bear problem or you had a cub that doesn't have a mother, you would phone 1-800 number, and then they get a hold of a conservation officer who goes out, assesses the situation, and then if need be, they'll bring the cub in to us. Or like we work with the SPCA and other animal groups. So, and the general public. But most times, which is good, people do phone in and say, look, I have a situation here. And a lot of times we're able, through education, to keep those babies with the mother, which is the way it should be, to let her raise them instead of bringing them in. But in some cases, animals are hit by cars, people have killed them, poisoned them, and in that case, then they're brought in.
And you talk about the parents or the mothers that
Parents,
have been killed.
Yeah. So we take in close to 2,000 mammals a year. And if you put that over 35 years, that's a lot of animals that have gone through my hands.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's in a year. Every day you're getting multiple animals.
Oh
coming in.
yeah. And now we're going into our busy season. So, it's baby season. And sometimes we can answer 100 calls a day.
Wow.
And those are calls that, getting back to, talking about funding, that municipalities would not have to deal with.
Right.
We deal with it. So it would be nice if some of these municipalities actually funded critter care.
Or participated in the betterment of
Yes.
and done some common sense things and made their community animal smart. I think that's it's always great to give money, but it's also like, let's start fixing the problem.
Yeah, fix it.
You
Yes,
can't just keep
that's right.
throwing money at the problem. Like, and honestly, like, you guys do great work, but I'm sure you would love it if you never had to ever rehabilitate an animal ever again.
But the worst
Yes.
part about this is you take in about 2,000, you say, in a year, but that's a drop in the bucket, isn't it? I mean, that's-
That is a drop in the bucket. And you've got to remember that too, mammals are like, they're like us, we're a mammal, and they take longer to grow up. Their enclosures are expensive. They're expensive to feed. Everything about them is expensive.
Yeah.
As we're birds, they grow up very quickly and they fly off. So it really is a different scenario. But yes, it would be nice if I never had to see a baby come in or a baby in a trap, or, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that would
how
be
many
nice.
How many are not found? How many are not brought in? How many don't make it? I mean, that's got to be an exponentially larger number
Yes,
than
much
than
larger.
what makes it to
Yes.
you.
Yeah, much
That's
larger.
a scary thing. I wanted to actually add something to this because I know a little bit about critter care. I've been involved in helping them with some of their fundraising, and I think people would be interested in knowing where you find the people that work with you. who are the people that are there manning the place? Who's out there with the animals?
It's
You
actually
mean like the people who actually take care of them?
Yep.
Actually, I have an internship program that I started when I first moved to this facility. And this is where young people come from all over the world. And they help us raise the babies, take care of the animals. They're involved in releases and rescues. They do it all. But then you have to have staff. You have to have trained staff that can handle these animals because they are wild animals and you can get bit. And, I have a young woman she was a vet tech for years. So she's handled cats and dogs and whatever. And then I have a young guy who actually came from England, and he has degrees in wildlife and whatever. And he interned with us a couple years ago for a year, and he's came back, and now he's working there.
Really?
So, yeah. And then I have a young man that we just hired who worked at a vet clinic with larger animals. So now he's just learning how to put
Yeah,
that.
the smaller
Yeah,
guys.
the smaller guys.
For the internship program, who are you looking for? Like, who are some of the people you're
you know
looking for?
what?
Ages and
Yeah, we don't take anybody under 18, 19 years old.
Okay.
You have to be willing to stay on site. You have to live on site for the minimum of 8 weeks. Most of them stay longer, pardon me, because, and they get to raise their own, they get to do everything with their own, they're taught how to raise their own babies.
oh my.
And there's very few facilities. In fact, I don't know of any where they actually get to raise their own. And they help us do everything. And they come back. There's a lot of them. Come back year after year. I've had a lot of my interns go on to become veterinarians. It's really cool. And it's a privilege to work with all these young people.
So you're looking for like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old
Yeah.
graduate from high school
Yeah,
that
or
loves animals.
who loves animals
Yeah.
and who's willing to learn and work hard. It's hard work.
I'm sure.
It's, you're raising babies, you're up through the night.
Yeah. And it's not paid, right?
No,
Yeah,
we,
so it's-
we pay room and board.
Right.
If they come from another country, which the majority of them do,
Mm-hmm.
they have to get here and get home, but we give them room and board.
That's kind of interesting that the majority of them come from other countries.
Well, I think in a lot of other countries, they've killed their wildlife, so they don't have anything left. And
Interesting.
so
Yeah,
now
I'd
they're
never even
coming
thought of
to
that.
take care of ours. Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
guess we have
countries
a big
don't have
we have a
anything.
big place here.
There's a
Yeah,
lot
that
of
makes
land,
sense.
yeah.
There's a lot of land, I agree, but there's also a lot of unnecessary killing.
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
So if we
yeah.
keep going the way we're going, there isn't going to be a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So if anybody is in that age category, 18, 19 years old, and you're looking to get some sort of internship and work with animals, if you're looking to get into veterinary, I do remember from when I was in university that the veterinary program was extremely difficult to get into, and you needed an insane amount of hours to be
Yeah.
working with animals. Even people that lived on farms didn't have enough time with animals to get into the program.
Right.
Yeah,
So
it's very hard to get into the program.
this is a perfect opportunity for
Yeah.
people that love animals and they want to work with animals, and it's a calling. I don't think it's a job; it's a calling.
It
right?
is
Like,
a calling. It
I've
is,
seen
yeah.
I've seen how they handle the animals, and it's something to watch. Like
Mm-hmm.
the care and the compassion that they have
Yeah.
for the cubs is
Mm-hmm.
it's it wasn't just about going to see the animals, but actually seeing how they handle the animals. When I was there last, was just really kind of inspiring.
It is
was,
inspiring, yeah.
It was very cool.
Yeah, it is. It's really inspiring.
I'm looking at your website here. You got some really cute pictures of beavers and bear cubs, and then there's the skunks.
Oh, skunks are
skunks-
so cool. Baby skunks are the cutest thing
are.
ever.
Well, these beavers are pretty cute, but
No, baby skunks.
skunks.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, is there a big problem with skunks right now, or is there a?
In the West End and North Vancouver, but particularly North Vancouver, they have a lot of skunks over there. I don't know why, but they do. And but they are really a cool animal. It's a shame that God gave them the defense that he did because they really are cute to raise with. But
It's probably a
work
good thing
with.
that he gave them that defense because they would have been an exploited animal that would have been a pet. And
But they were years ago.
yeah, no, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, I know
yes.
that. Oh,
yeah, you were allowed
Yeah.
to have a pet skunk.
Yeah.
You're
Up
kidding.
until the early 80s, I think.
Well,
it
they would
was, or-
descent them.
Yeah, you
They were
can't
taking
Oh,
their
that's
land.
cruel.
Yeah,
That's
that is
just
very
cruel.
cruel.
That's like
yeah.
surgery, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
declawing
Oh
a
yeah,
cat.
it's not.
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But there also too, I knew a woman years ago who had one as a pet, and she said it was very hard because he wanted to be up at night and he slept
Yes.
all day because they are a nocturnal animal.
They are, yeah.
So it's, but there's parts of the U.S. that, you can have them. We don't allow anybody to have our native wildlife as pets here. It's against the law.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I know that there is a gala upcoming.
Yes, actually, it's on. This is our 20th gala or 20th year for this particular event. So there's not many tickets left. So if anybody's interested, they need to get on it. But it's one of our biggest fundraisers. The other one is our open house. But yeah, so we have some new things happening this year at the gala, and it'll be fun.
Fantastic.
Well,
And
I'm
that's-
looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll be Lisa and I.
It's a formal event, right?
Well, it's black and white. So, however,
Very cool. So
people
that is
say
on the
black and white in different aspects.
27th of April at the Coast Hotel Cascades Casino in downtown Langley. So if you have the time available and you want to come support some critters, please come out to the event. So one thing I do want to touch on is for the people, if you find an animal in distress or you think it's in distress, what are some things that the general population, the general public should be looking at doing
Okay,
first?
so-
So what's the first? You don't just go and grab it.
No, like in this. Okay, so fawn season will be coming up soon. Fawns are usually born in May.
Okay.
And with fawns, a lot of people who hike will see a fawn in the forest laying down. That fawn is not orphaned. The mother has just put it there while she goes out and forages, and then she'll come back, feed it, and go out again.
Okay.
But a lot of people end up picking them up, bringing them in, keeping them for 2 weeks, bringing them in. But if they were to phone us first, we could advise them on what to do and what the signs were. Like if that baby is laying down and is quiet, it is not orphaned. If it's running around and crying,
Yeah.
then it is orphaned. So that's a different scenario. But a lot of times they bring in animals that have not been really orphaned.
Oh.
They've just seen it and they pick it up and they think it is. So a lot of times, last year we had really good luck putting the fawns back with the mother.
Oh, good. So that is
Yeah.
possible.
Oh yeah, no, it is, and
Oh,
we've
wow.
done it with raccoons, and we've done it with a lot of the animals. We try to get
Wow.
them back because that is where they should be.
See, I was always under the impression that if you touch them or if you even go near them,
No,
that you
that's
sense
just
that's old wives'
Yeah,
tale.
that's old wives' tale.
Okay. See, this is an educational session of Common Sense Warriors. I did not know a lot of this
Yeah.
stuff. What about if you have a bear cub?
If you have a bear cub, well, you would phone the 1-800 number in Victoria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they would get hold of a conservation officer who would come out and check out the situation and either pick it up or wait to see if mom's around.
Yeah.
I mean, they've even had luck in putting babies back. So
Wow.
Wow. What is
yeah.
that number?
I don't know what, how many they've done, but it has been done.
No, I meant the phone number.
Oh, the phone number. Oh my gosh, you're
Sorry.
going to ask me and I don't know what it is offhand.
Well, we'll put it. We'll put it on our YouTube. We'll put it on the
Yeah,
website.
yeah,
and we'll put it on the
yeah,
YouTube channel
yeah.
for
Definitely,
anybody.
we're definitely going to make these numbers available
Yeah.
because I think it's
Yeah.
very important that people
Yeah.
know this.
Yeah, especially for the bear cubs, that is the number that you would phone.
Yeah.
But they can phone us as well because we
Oh,
can also
okay.
get in touch with them
Oh,
and let
okay.
them know that we have space. And
Okay.
yeah,
So bear cubs, don't mess around with bear cubs because
No.
mama's probably around somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
And-
And please don't feed bear cubs.
no,
No.
don't.
How many videos do you see on YouTube with with people on the side of the road feeding cubs, and that just every time I see that I'm going, yep, there's a dead bear. You're literally
You're
killing
giving him
that
a death
animal.
sentence. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's terrible.
Drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And then we've got the one thing I did run into a cougar last year on one of my walks. I live out in the forest, so I realized that I've got to be bear aware. When the bears, if you're loud enough, they usually go away. We did run into a cougar on one of my walks at about 6 o'clock in the morning, and he didn't want anything to do with me. He was
And
gone,
most
but it
times they
scared the
don't.
living tar out of me.
Yeah.
I can tell you. Like,
Well, that's a good thing.
oh, I was terrified. The adrenaline was going all day long.
They're kind of scary.
They're
They're
big too.
beautiful.
They are.
animal.
They're big.
They're-
You're looking
yeah.
at them going, oh my.
Yeah.
Like,
That
you
is
could
a
eat me.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that thing could have.
I've met a few.
Like the tail was the length of a dinner table.
Yeah.
Like it was big, and it. Yeah.
Was it swishing?
Yeah.
No, well, he was on I was walking down the trail, just kind of walking the dog, oblivious to the world. I had my headphones in, and then I kind of heard something off in the back and the side behind me, and he was up on a tree that was kind of leaning sideways, and I guess he was just sleeping
Just-
there.
yeah.
He was just chilling out, and he saw us, and he kind of disturbed some branches as he was moving. So I turned around and looked, and there he was, about 20 feet away from me. So I remember because I had watched the news and said, okay, well, you need to be loud and you want to
Yeah.
scare him. So I got loud. I started ki-ying away at this, and he wanted nothing to do.
Yeah.
He went down the bankment.
Yeah.
And I had the dog with me, and the dog's like a little, it's a little dog. It's
Little rat that barks.
oh yeah, she had no idea. She was like completely clueless that the cougar was there. So and then you're supposed to back away from the cougar. So I'm yelling and I've got my arms waving, and I'm glad it's on camera. So I'm waving my arms. Dog stops. I'm not even watching the dog. I got the dog on the leash, and the dog stops. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? Well, the dog decides to take its morning poop right in front of the cougar. I'm like, you are now the winner of the worst timing ever. Thank you, Lucy.
Oh, that's perfect.
So I phoned the conservation number and phoned them, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, we definitely want to know. Anytime you see a cougar or a bear, or grizzly bears, for example, like, and we have to realize, outside the Fraser Valley, there is a lot of British Columbia that's out there, like a lot." And we are not the center of the universe in BC in the Fraser Valley. So they want to know about, and I'll do this plug for, if you see a grizzly bear, if you see a black bear, if you see a cougar, the conservation society or conservation officers want to know about it. They may not do anything, but they can at least map it and see where they're hanging
There's
out.
a map that they have that
Yeah.
they pinpoints the different areas.
And they probably already know who the characters are that are out
Yeah.
there. So like they
Yeah.
probably already knew who the cougar was that was sleeping on that tree.
Yeah.
Oh, probably.
And interrupted Lucy's morning vigil. So
It is a little nerve-wracking when you're walking on sides of hills or rock things, and you look up and there's
Yeah.
a cougar. That is a very scary thing, and yeah, that happened to me. And you're kind of like literally in their line of fire. If they were to be that kind of animal, you're literally going, oh yeah, they just won.
yeah.
Because that's a bit of a better vantage point than you have.
well, they got the high ground, right?
But they got the high ground.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to
But
mess
you know,
around
in
with
most
them.
cases, people see them and there isn't a problem.
No.
It's
Yeah.
when they're, most times with cougars, it's when they've just been booted out of the den, you know what I mean? And they're
Right.
on their own.
Yeah.
And they're not, really proficient in hunting yet. And that's normally when you run into problems.
And what is their main prey? Is it deer or is it
Deer,
Yeah.
cats, dogs.
Oh, really?
They would if they.
If- I
they
guess
have
if the
to,
opportunity
but
came-
deer is their, is
That's their main-
main prey.
Okay. And so, if you found a mammal, there's a link on the website here. Mm-hmm. With
And
the
phone
different.
phone us first, so
Yeah.
that we can guide you through what should be happening, and maybe we can keep it out with the mum.
Yeah, and find out if there is a next step, or if the next step is just to,
leave it alone.
back away and leave it alone. That's important.
So, and right now, what's the big season right now? What are you getting a lot of phone calls about right now? In April.
Squirrels and the raccoons are starting to come in. May is fawns. Actually, we already got in our first little bear cub of the season.
Wow.
We still have 4 that just came out of hibernation about 2 weeks ago. So they'll go hopefully after spring bear hunt. But the little one will stay till.
So you have a bear at Critter Care right now.
We actually have 5, but one is just the newborn.
Just
cub.
newborn cub.
Yeah. This year. Beautiful cub.
Does the fire
Cute.
season have a big effect on the animals that you get in? I know that it's getting worse every year, and
In most cases, the fires would kill the young. The adults
okay.
are big enough to run.
To run, okay.
But yeah, I couldn't even imagine how many animals have been killed in the last.
It's going to get worse. This year is supposed to be our hottest summer ever, and fire season, there's already fire bans on.
Yes,
So.
yeah.
So who's
Scary.
Kenai and Coda?
They're.
I have a little story here, so it's like
Yeah.
your face lit up as soon as I mentioned
Yeah.
them. So why don't you tell us about
Well,
that?
actually, they're two little bear cubs. They
cute.
came in from up north. I'm just trying to think where. But eyes closed, and of course, being the boss, I get to take them home and raise them until their eyes are open and can stay at the center. So I bottle fed them, and it's really a privilege to, raise all these different animals. Like most people never will see them, never mind raise them.
Right.
And now they're out in the wild.
Yep.
And there's pictures of them out in the wild. Look at how handsome they are. Mm-hmm. And where were they? Oh, you don't tell people where they're
No,
really.
Don't even ask that.
No,
Because
you're
there's too
asked.
many people with guns running
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, then I'd have to beat you.
I
We can
do not
arrange
want that.
We can arrange that
That's
anyway.
not a fundraiser either, Reiner, before you get that. They were talking about having a fundraiser to have me get punched in the gut or something like that. So
Beat Lyle. How
Beat
many
Lyle.
people would like to
There'd be a
donate
big,
for that?
I think there'd be a big lineup, actually. My kids would be first in line. My wife would be third. Then you'd be right behind.
Absolutely.
So how old are they if their eyes aren't even open? They must be just...
Well, bear cubs are usually born in January, February.
Yeah.
The one that we got in just a week ago, she was already 14 pounds, so she had to have been born, I think, in December.
Oh, wow.
Because normally at around, that age coming in, they'd be like maybe 6, 7 pounds. But she was good, healthy, 14 pounds. Good body shape. The mother had been hit by a car.
Oh, okay.
Most beautiful cub.
Is that unusual for them to be born like in December or that early?
No,
in the year?
well, like when I say that, it could be the end of December going into
Okay.
January, February.
Okay.
But the way the weather is going, sometimes the animals just get mixed up.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and we had early spring, and then we had winter, and then we
Yeah.
had spring
Yeah,
again. So, I
so-
mean, they're kind of all, like, we didn't really get winter until February.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we got hit, and then I
Then
think
that
that probably
cold.
made your business brisk because
Yes, it was.
the animals were
Yeah.
quite cold and they weren't
Yeah,
really
and
ready
they
for
weren't
it.
finding food. Everything was frozen, and
Yeah.
we've actually had a busy winter.
Do we get any animals that are migrating through, like mammals? The mammals don't really migrate much, or the
No,
the
no, that would be more birds.
okay.
Yeah.
So people find raccoons underneath their deck. Mm-hmm. They need to give you a call, or just leave them alone, or what's
Well, what they need to do is to leave them alone if they can, if they're in an area where they can leave them alone. The mother will move them at around 8 weeks anyhow,
Okay.
when they're at an age to start following her where they'll learn to forage. So at that time, they can monitor when she takes, because she'll start by taking one out. Then she'll take 2 the next night, and then depending on how many she has, then she'll add to her group. And once they're all gone, that's the time to board it up.
okay.
Yeah, and it's also it's keeping your house in good repair, so that it doesn't allow these animals to den under hot tubs or under decks and
Yeah, so
things like that, or in roofs. Like they'll go up on a roof. If there's some loose shingles, they'll pull those shingles away and they go in your roof. You got to remember that these animals want a safe place in which to raise their young. And that is no different to what we want for our kids.
Responsible parents.
Yes.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I think, and people really need to understand that they're just doing what's best,
Yeah.
what they think is best for their
So we
for their
just
kids.
have to be patient and not cruel, and they will go off on their own if you just leave them the time to do that.
Something that's a bit of a concern or an issue for me is some of the traps that are available that people can buy, that people use in the cities and on trails. And not that I'm saying that it shouldn't be used anywhere else either, but they're using them on trails where you walk with your pets, like leg hold traps, which frankly, if it were up to me, leg hold traps would be so banned everywhere that anybody that uses them, I think, anywhere near the cities is a disgusting individual. And it boggles my mind that they're that easily available and that people
You
aren't
can buy
doing,
them online.
They should not be anywhere near a city,
No.
especially with their like. There's no reason for it. Like up in the north, and
They're still,
if you're in a
they're
hunting,
too
trapping
cruel. They're
subs-
too cruel. I personally believe that it's a very cruel thing to do. Have you ever seen an animal that has died being in one of those traps?
Oh,
I
they
have.
suffer
And
terribly.
they suffer. It is probably one of the worst suffering that can happen to an animal, and it just boggles my mind that we don't have more regulations around that. I'm not one that promotes regulations on a lot of stuff. I really am not. But this is one thing that I would love to see some very, very serious regulations and laws brought in for it. It just really personally bothers me.
That's common sense, Reiner.
Exactly, it is.
I'm going to ask you one more question, and then we have a surprise for you. So, in your 30, however many years of doing this, you must have had a favorite rescue. Have you had a favorite?
Well, I have lots of favorites.
Okay, what's a
Mom,
favorite?
which one of
What's a
your kids
favorite
is your
story,
favorite?
Mom? You can't. Okay, we're not going to ask you to pick a favorite kid. So,
Yeah, no, I've had lots of favorites.
Yeah.
I would have to say Hoover the bobcat.
Hoover the Bobcat.
Hoover.
Yeah.
How did you get
There's
the
got to
name
be a
Hoover?
reason for the name Hoover.
Well, she just she'd been taken out of her den, and anyways, the woman didn't know what to feed her, how much to feed her, so she was basically starving, and it's against the law to have her to begin with. Found out after a couple of weeks this cat slept with this woman, whatever.
Oh my!
And then she found out it was against the law, so she got a hold of us, and I got her, and it took me 3 days to even realize whether she was going to live or die.
Wow.
I kept her at home and through that time, and because she was critical. And anyways, I saved her life, and it was she ended up being our ambassador.
Oh,
Yeah, she lived till she was 13.
so she was never able to be released
No.
back in the wild.
No, I actually even sent her up north to be raised with, after I got her healthy, to be raised with a lynx, although they're the same family, but the lynx is bigger. She would have had to come back for release, but I thought with being raised with a lynx, she would have gotten the, more wild.
Yeah.
She didn't. And
So the goal is to always try and rehabilitate
Yes.
to release,
Yes.
but sometimes they can't. So
no,
then,
and in her case, she couldn't be.
Yeah.
But she was certainly a good ambassador for critter care. The kids loved her, the school kids. The seniors, we had a senior program at the time where they come for a tour and they get tea and coffee and stuff. And no matter what, whether they were in a wheelchair, a walker, whatever, they could come 4 times a year. They always went down to see her.
Aw.
Yeah. So she, like I say, she lived till she was 13. She got a very aggressive bone cancer. And I thought she would live longer, but she
And
had
how old do
13.
they usually live?
Oh,
in the wild?
in the wild, that would be a good.
That's a good age?
In
Okay.
the wild, but in captivity they can live up to 30.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah.
I guess if they're in the wild, they can't
Yeah.
run and hunt,
Yeah.
then they're going to go pretty quick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now this is our favorite part of the show.
Yeah, this is our speed round. We'd like to ask some questions, and we're going to ask you to answer quickly
Oh, good
without
God.
thinking too carefully about it. And I've been nice with these questions. I get to choose. We have hundreds to choose from, and,
And
I chose.
and it's our show, so we get to choose.
Exactly, it's
So-
our show. And
So now
we'll-
you're both going to get beaten.
Was it just me
well,
before?
It was just
Oh,
you before.
sweet.
I was arranging that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Gail. So we're going to start with, are rats cute?
They are.
Exactly. How many hours of sleep do you need?
Do I need?
Yeah.
Not how many do you get. How many do you need?
Well, probably I would say 6, 7.
Good. Name one of the 7 dwarves.
Sleepy.
Excellent. Would you rather cuddle a baby panda or a baby penguin?
Oh, I would like to cuddle both, but probably a panda.
I kind of actually thought you were going to say, oh, can't I do both?
Yeah.
Good answer. Name a primate besides monkeys and apes.
The orangutan.
Orangutan. Excellent. And what is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Tiger.
Really?
Tiger.
I haven't heard that one.
Excellent.
That's just a flashback to the
Yeah,
80s there.
That's
it's
a long time.
orange. Yeah, it's
Orange and black
and
licorice.
black.
And
Yeah.
licorice. Excellent.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I think this is very important for everybody that lives in the Lower Mainland to understand that we are coexisting with animals, and
We have
and there's a
to.
lot of people behind the scenes taking care of these guys that are completely defenseless, and they're just doing their thing, and they're trying to protect their young, and they're trying to just live their life and eat. It's just no different than you and I going to the restaurant and having a burger. Like
Yeah.
they're just out doing their thing. So let's understand that we are in their area and their territory, and
Treat them with compassion.
Exactly.
we-
And once a year, remember, there is an open house.
Yes.
Critter Care. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more and get a little bit more educated so that you aren't part of the problem, you might want to check out the Critter Care website and
Yeah.
find out when the open house is. Check out their gala. I think it's a fantastic organization to pay some attention to, because you can come out of that with some great education, and you'll find a way to be a better, I guess, tenant of the land that belongs to the wildlife.
Yeah, we're just renting this land. We're not. It's not ours. So crittercarewildlife.org. If you want to donate, there's a donate button on there. So please do. If you can't make the gala, or if you can't make it out, please donate to Critter Care. It's very important that they have the funding to keep themselves going, because they're protecting animals that can't protect themselves. So thank you so much for coming on Common Sense Warriors. And I'll see you on the 27th
Sounds
at the
good.
gala in the
Exactly.
tux.
In a tux.
There we
Me
go.
too. I've got a tux that I was looking for an excuse to wear.
Well,
I told my